Hey y'all, I'm so excited about today's show because let me tell you what's gonna happen. It's gonna be a table for just two today, me and Michael, and I've got a fabulous menu planned for us. I'm gonna do an herb crusted pork loin. I'm gonna be doing a curried fruit that's gonna be fabulous with that. And then a rice that's just full of all kind of mushrooms. And to start our meal off with a little appetizer, I've got an eggplant dip. But wait until you see our dessert. I'm gonna do a Mocha Fondue for Michael. So I hope y'all come on in and join me because I love company while I'm cooking. Okay, I can't wait to get started on this meal because it's truly gonna be delicious. I'm gonna be making an herb crusted pork loin that's just covered in fresh herbs. And then I'm gonna be making a rice dish to go alongside of it that's filled with 3 different kinds of fresh mushrooms. I'm gonna be adding shiitake, portobello, and then just a regular white cap mushroom. And I've got a half a stick of butter over here in my saute pan. And we're just gonna throw our mushrooms in there. This is 3 cups of mushrooms. If you have a particular favorite mushroom, you know, you can just go with 1. But like I said, I think this is interesting, you know, having a variety. So now I'm gonna add 1 onion that's been diced. And we're just gonna let that saute away until it's kind of soft. I think I'm gonna go ahead and add a little black pepper to it and a little bit of salt. All right, let's step on over and talk about our pork loin. You know, this is one of my favorite meats to prepare because it's so simple, it's so easy, and it's so delicious. You know, it requires very little attention. I'm gonna cook this on a rack, but I'm gonna put it to the side because I wanna come in here and really get to my meat. Now, I'm gonna rub it with some olive oil. All right, now for the herbs today, I've selected to use thyme, 2 teaspoons of fresh thyme. I'm using 2 teaspoons of fresh basil and 2 teaspoons of fresh rosemary. And now I've got 4 cloves of garlic that I've minced up and 1 tablespoon of salt. And we're just gonna mix those together. Those fresh herbs look so beautiful. I think I'm gonna start by peppering my roast. And Michael likes a lot of pepper. So I'm really gonna coat this good just for Michael. Now I'm just gonna begin by taking my herbs and rubbing those in my meat. And you really wanna massage them in. This is already smelling so good. Now I'm gonna flip it fat side up and I'm gonna kinda let it sit there with as much of those herbs as I can get on top. Now I'm gonna slip my rack back underneath there. Put it back on the pan. I'm gonna drizzle it with the rest of that olive oil. I'm gonna put this in a preheated 475-degree oven and I'm gonna roast it for 30 minutes. And then I'm gonna lower the temperature to 425 degrees and I'm gonna let it cook for another hour. And it's gonna be incredible. So in the oven this goes. So in the oven that goes. I want to come down here and wash my hands. I got to get that oil and anything that was on the meat off of my hands. It's important, you know, that we wash our hands often during cooking. In fact, sometimes I feel like I've washed my hands until they've got wrinkles in them. So come on back down here and let's finish putting our rice dish together. Now, I've got 5 cups of rice that already had cooked up. And I'm just gonna add that to our mushrooms and break that rice up. Tell you what, these spoons that God invented, they're the best kind to have, you know? All right. Now I'm gonna add just a little soy sauce because that's gonna be a nice flavor. There's no rule for this. You can add as much as you like. All right, now I'm gonna toss in some green onions. Give it a little taste. That's perfect. I'm just gonna push that to the side. I'm gonna take a quick break, and when I come back, I wanna show you how that herb crusted pork loin turned out. And then guess what I'm gonna be cooking to go along with it? A nice, hot, curried fruit dish. And later, a delicious garlic eggplant dip. And for dessert, a wonderful Mocha Fondue. Hey y'all, welcome back. Look at this. This proves that time really does fly when you're having a good time. Already an hour and a half, and look, our roast is done. I'm gonna let this rest for about 20 minutes, but I'm real excited over this next dish. You know, I have been eating this dish for years, but the more I talk about it, the more I find people who have never had it. So I don't know if it's just a Southern thing or what. It's a hot curry fruit dish, and you're not gonna believe how good the curry is with all that fresh baked fruit. Now we're gonna start off with 1 stick of butter. I'm gonna put in a 1/2 cup of light brown sugar and about a tablespoon of curry powder. Now you can determine this. Curry is a strong herb. I'm probably gonna use about 2 teaspoons in there. All right, and then we're gonna squeeze the juice from 1 lemon, and this is gonna give our butter a nice tart flavor. Okay. All right, I see a lemon seed in there. Somehow he got past me. We're gonna keep him out of there. All right. Now let's come over here and talk about the fruit we're using. I'm using a fresh pineapple, fresh pears, fresh peaches, and fresh apples. Now for the apricots, it's not apricot season, so I turned to the dried apricot. These are just perfect. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and core this with 1 whack. There we go. All right, I'm just gonna slice this into chunks. Now I've taken my pears, I've peeled and cored and quartered them, along with the peaches and the apples. I've treated them the same way. So let's just start piling our fruit in our dish. You can see why this is a wonderful dish with pork. All the perfect flavors. Now for color and for flavor, I can't make this fruit dish without some beautiful maraschino cherries. And we are in the South, so I definitely think that pecans are in order. There's nothing that we won't throw a nut in. All right, so I've got those all mixed up. So in the dish it goes. Now don't worry about it being too high because, you know, as fruit cooks, it shrinks up. Now let's just pour this over our fruit. It's truly stunning. So we're gonna pop this in the oven. We're gonna bake it at 325 for about an hour or either an hour and 15 minutes. So just keep an eye on it. And no more than an hour and 15 minutes, it should produce a dish that looks just like this. Almost looks like a dessert, doesn't it? So let's come on in now. Our meat has rested. I've got my rice ready. So let's cut into our pork loin and see what we have. Doesn't that look delicious? All those herbs on top, oh my goodness. And it's just still full of juice, y'all. By no means is this dry. Can you see all the moisture coming out of it? Yum, this is gonna be a great meal. All right, now I'm gonna come in here and just mound up my rice. These are the cutest little measuring cups. I bought them at an antique shop. They're old, but I just love them. Love having the little handle on them. Now let's come in here with our pork. Looks delicious. All right, now I'm gonna come in here and put just a little fruit. That looks pretty good, doesn't it? A perfect plate for two. So, what you say, let's dig in. He'll never know. I'll go underneath. It's delicious. And the rice just goes right on in there with that pork roast, and that fruit just steps on top of that pork and gives it a fabulous flavor. Well, y'all, this completes our meal, but I've got to have the starter and I've got to have the ending, because that's definitely missing. So coming up next, I'm gonna be preparing Michael and me a wonderful fresh eggplant dip. But here's the kicker, y'all, and you're gonna wanna stick around for it. How does a Mocha Fondue sound to you? I'm so excited about this next dish because I just dearly love an eggplant, and we eat it all the time down here in Savannah, but we slice them real thin and deep fry them. So I'm always anxious to find new ways to eat one of my favorite vegetables. Now, I've got one of our eggplant prepped, and you can see the cloves of garlic sticking all in that eggplant. So let's go ahead and get the other one done. And like I said, just randomly, we're gonna stick that garlic in, because I'm gonna be making an eggplant dip that has a little Mideastern taste to it. All right, there we go. Our eggplant is slipped in there. Now I'm gonna take a little extra virgin olive oil, and I'm just gonna rub this on the skin of our eggplant. Now we're gonna put this in a preheated oven, 350 degrees, and we're gonna roast this off for about an hour. So let's pop this in the oven. Eggplant looks like such an exotic, romantic food to me. I guess the color and the shape of it, it's just dramatic to me. All right, now I have 2 eggplants here that have roasted for 1 hour, and they have cooled because I have to peel these, and it would be very, very hard to peel if these were piping hot. So come on back down here. I wanna share with you how we're gonna put this dip together and all the great flavors that's gonna be in it. And you can see they've shriveled up a little bit, hadn't they? They've become very wrinkledy after that trip in the oven. So I'm just gonna cut off the stems. And now we're just gonna peel this. And you can see that it's gonna peel fairly easily, kind of like a sweet potato after it's baked. Okay, so there we go. Just gonna tear that apart, drop it in the food processor. along with those cloves of garlic. Okay, here we go again. We're just gonna slip that skin off. My skin will come off in strips. There we go. And if we have a little bit of skin on it, it certainly won't hurt it. I love the skin of eggplant. Now, I'm gonna start by adding 4 tablespoons of tahini sauce, and this is like a roasted sesame paste, and you can find this in your ethnic section of your grocery store, you know, along with your Asian and your Mexican foods. In that goes along with our eggplant. All right. Now we're gonna add 3 tablespoons of lemon juice. And always use fresh. I don't ever recommend you using the bottled lemon juice. It just really takes away from it. All right, now I'm gonna add 3 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. Now I'm gonna throw in a teaspoon of house seasoning, which is your salt, your pepper, your garlic. So let's put our lid on, and we're gonna just puree it for a few seconds. Now I'm gonna add some fresh flat leaf parsley, and this is probably about 3 tablespoons, and that should get it. All right, whoops. Over here, I've got a bowl that's been lined with that wonderful Boston leaf lettuce that I do love. Now I'm just gonna pour our dip right in there. Doesn't that remind you of a very Mideastern dip? Now I'm gonna sprinkle it with just a little paprika. And this is very, very good, especially when you want to serve people maybe just a little something different. Now I've made some pita chips, and all I did was deep fry these. You can do them in the oven though if you like. I just dropped them in the deep fryer and sprinkled them with a little garlic, salt, and parsley. Well, let's dip in here and see what we got. Michael's gonna love it. He's gonna scoff them down. But I tell you what he's really gonna like. Coming up next, Mocha Fondue. So y'all don't go anywhere. Y'all, this whole entire meal, I have been so looking forward to getting our dessert ready. Michael Groover is gonna love this, a Mocha Fondue. Now I've got 3/4 of a cup of heavy cream that I've brought to just a light boil. And now I'm gonna add 1 pound of a semi-sweet chocolate that I've chopped up so it'll melt easily. Right in there with that cream. And it's not gonna take that long to melt. All right, now to our chocolate, I'm gonna add 1/4 of a cup of a coffee liqueur. I'm already going into a chocolate coma. This is that simple, y'all. So I'm just gonna pour our chocolate into our pot. So just that simple, we've got it already. Now the thing I like about a chocolate fondue is because you can let your imagination run wild. Whatever you've got is great for this plate. But today I've chosen bananas and fresh strawberries, pound cake, marshmallows, biscotti, and last but not least, a fresh pineapple. So let's go on over to the table because I know Michael is gonna be soon to follow. Hey, darling, I knew you were gonna smell that chocolate.
Everything looks wonderful.
Doesn't it look yummy? I've got a meal fit for a king for you.
Well, I can't wait.
I have roasted you off a fabulous herb-encrusted pork loin. I've made you a rice full of those wonderful mushrooms that you love. And I've got an appetizer for us. It's an eggplant dip. And then look at the curried fruit.
Oh.
Are you excited over that?
I am, and what is this?
Well, this is your dessert, your special dessert. So what would you like to taste, darling?
Biscotti.
The biscotti. Okay. I don't think that's gonna ruin your appetite.
I don't think so.
There you go. You enjoy that while I tell everybody goodbye. Y'all, I've had great fun being with you today. Say So glad you dropped in and visited with me while I prepared a great meal for a table for 2 or a table for 12. And as always, you know that Michael and I send y'all love and best dishes from our table to yours.